John Mara of the New York Giants, owner of the New York Giants, made me proud. Uh, Last week at the owners meeting, which they do annually to start the new league year, there are a bunch of different proposals being put out there. For some reason, owners chose to maintain that roughing the passer is not going to be reviewable anymore. Or will not be reviewable. They never had it be reviewable, and I find that decision to be bizarre, but protect the quarterback at all costs, apparently.
Well, especially also after what we saw, so many times. I remember us talking about that one Dexter Lawrence sack.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly who it was.
Graze the size of side of Kirk
That's what it was.
Cousins'
Yes,
helmet.
yes.
It could have changed the trajectory of the game. How about Chris Jones?
Right. Yeah.
Was it this year? Chris Jones tackled Derek Carr,
And it was like
wrapped up.
He rested on his body, like he wasn't even on the field, and it
You
was like,
would've- yeah.
unnecessary roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness. It's like,
I mean, you can't review that.
What
And
can-
that
what
could
can you do?
it could have changed the entire trajectory of the season. But this is an even more like that's a quality of the game issue. This is a player safety and
absolutely.
issue and honestly a fan ripoff issue. The NFL is attempting to many of the owners, due to greed and due to a institutional desire to appease their new daddy Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
They're considering this proposal to flex Thursday night football games. Here's New
Because
York.
all they're seeing is dollar signs, right? Like
Exactly.
it's just like
But listen, John Mara, got his money through football. The Giants are a family-run organization, and there is something to be said. Like, yeah, no good billionaires totally get it. I don't even know if Mara would constitute a billionaire since it's a family-owned business. But regardless, like, if he sold the Giants, he would be.
oh sure, yeah, no
But
question.
he's not a billion. He's not a billionaire that came in and bought a team, right? Like, this has been in there. This
Yeah, like
makes-
Shad Khan with the Jaguars,
Yeah,
for
or
example,
whatever, or,
even
yeah,
Kraft,
David Tepper.
Oh yeah, Tepper, right? For no,
yeah.
good, yeah,
A majority of the NFL owners are that way. Not the case for the Steelers and the Giants. And I do think that gives them a different perspective because they don't have outside businesses that they are more tied up in. Mara's like, no. I need to protect the Giants as an organization and our ticket holders as well. And this is where he's coming from, but it's also the right position.
Our season ticket holders to people that fill our stadiums every week. People have gotten used to going from Sunday afternoon to Sunday night. That doesn't mean that they like it. This year, we can be flexed to Monday night, which I think is really inconsiderate to our ticket holders. But to flex a game back to Thursday night, to me, is just abusive. And I am adamantly opposed to it. I think unfortunately didn't get enough votes today, but he'll probably be revisited in May.
If it would
So if you couldn't hear that there, that was John Mara calling the Thursday night flexing proposal abusive. And we don't know if it's going to go through right now because, as he indicated there, they didn't have enough votes to kill it, but they ended up tabling it to a later meeting in a few weeks. So we will know at some point what the deal is, but they already took a step in that direction because they did approve a rule that allows now for players to play a maximum of 2 short week games. The maximum used to be 1 with an exemption for the Thanksgiving games. So some teams could play 2. Those teams like, the Lions will always play 2, or I guess maybe not always because they don't necessarily need to, I guess, play standard Thursday night football. But regardless, like with that little caveat for the 6 teams that play on Thanksgiving, you're only supposed to, in negotiations with the union, by the way, be able to play 1 short week game. Why? I don't know. Because we saw what happened with Tua last season. Tua got concussed on Sunday, and then they tried to cover it up and pretend it wasn't a concussion. And he played through it and made 3 inexplicable decisions with interceptions that caused people to look back at that film and go, whoa, something was not right. Or maybe that was on Thursday. Either way, I'm forgetting which games. He clearly got concussed in one game and then went around and turned and played on Thursday, and that's when he had the horrific concussion where his fingers were in the fencing position. plus just all the other kinds of injuries that happen in a short week turnaround. I mean, Thursday Night Football shouldn't exist at all. And now they're trying to have it happen more than one time a year for each particular team. So they have already approved that, though, is what I'm saying. They've now allowed for this to at least happen maximum of 3 times, at least happen twice if they choose to do so. And under the proposal for this to happen more broadly, that would mean flex games could be announced 15 days before the scheduled kickoff, which would mean, to Mara's point, that the fans that had purchased tickets, hotels, they would not get reimbursed. If you do so 2 weeks out or a little over that, they could just decide, hey, we're gonna flex this. So it's a player safety issue. Plus, it's just like, we don't care at all about the people coming to our games, about our fans. We only care about appealing to and appeasing one guy. And that guy's Jeff Bezos, who probably didn't hit every target that he needed to in terms of the first year of Thursday Night Football being on Amazon Prime. Because some of the games, wow, you're shit out of luck. Sorry. Some of the games weren't so good. Rams, Raiders, whatever ended up being on at later in the season. That's been the case throughout the history of Thursday Night Football, because in and of itself it shouldn't exist. But now Bezos is desperate to make, he wants the Mahomes on there multiple times a year. He wants Josh Allen. He wants Lamar Jackson, whatever. He wants the star power. But the union negotiations were supposed to preclude this. The players hate playing on a short week. They know they're more likely to get injured. And what Bezos is trying to, in conjunction with Goodell and other greedy owners, and we don't know who they are, we just know that John Mara is leading the charge on the other side, is trying to make this happen. Circumventing the union, by the way. Have they even consulted the union on this? That might be a violation of the CBA. But what they're banking on is that players are going to see that more revenue comes in from Daddy Bezos, and they'll be okay because their game checks might be a little bit bigger. But that's not how you actually protect players. Oh, the NFL, it's all about, it's had a come to Jesus moment about player health and safety. This will hurt more players. They rely on some stat that says that, we've crunched the numbers and Thursday Night Football does not increase the rate of injury. Okay, ask any player and they would say that that's bullshit. And they also, in those statistics, don't count the players that can't play on Thursday because the week is such a short turnaround that they're just out, right? They're only counting in-game injuries, if those are even reported. So they're trying to tweak the statistics to make this narrative fit. But it's just like, from turning, into 17-game season, plus this, like, spare me on player health and safety.
Just to add to what you were saying in regards to the Tua situation. So the so-called back injury that he had against the Bills, that was September 25th, 2022. When he was when he got hit in the game against Cincinnati and was clearly experiencing a severe, fencing motion as a result of a most likely aggravated concussion as a result of what he experienced. How many days do you think were in between those two games? 4.
Less.
September 25th to September 29th, Tua had sustained both of those injuries in a 4-day window.
Well, and I mean, on the first day he sustained the injury, and then on the 4th day.
Right, exactly.
Right,
exactly.
because it's just
from Sunday afternoon to Thursday night.
Okay, so
right.
5 days,
right.
but whatever. Like, long story short, it's a very, very ridiculously short window.
Wait,
Sunday, Monday. I can't do math. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There we go. So 3 days sandwiched in between. Right.
And so it's exactly what you said. Is like, that obviously is the most extreme example of like how unrelenting and ruthless that window of time is for a team that at the end of the day, it's a ruthless calculation. But if everyone agrees if everyone agrees, including the guy, hey, I'm going to go out there and play, it's a ruthless window, and it's a ruthless calculation to make, obviously, no question about it, but that's potentially the end result. Potentially the end result for not only maintaining the status quo when it comes to Thursday Night Football, but like you said, even compressing that timetable even further to make it even more abrupt, even more touch and go or ad hoc in terms of, oh, we're flexing this game. Now it's Thursday. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Gotta turn it back around and go play on Thursday. There's no part of me that would think that stuff akin to that of Tua's injury wouldn't just potentially proliferate more as a result of this.
Of course. And
as you said, it is a great question. I do wonder if DeMaurice Smith and the NFLPA agree to this, and it's mostly about financial consideration. I want to know what they think about the safety aspect of this and how that is not as top of mind or as primary to potentially the game checks being slightly higher because there's more opportunity to play.
I want an independent investigation into the health and safety numbers. I don't want to just hear at a press conference from an NFL executive.
Exactly,
from
a league investigation or league numbers or whatever. You're exactly right. We can't trust that. There's nothing. It's a corrupt body investigating itself.
Kangaroo court.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they've been doing this entire time with like the Daniel Snyder internal investigation, which we still don't have the details of. They did an internal investigation.
They never, by the way.
I mean, because they're
if he sells the team, we'll definitely never get it.
Right. Like they're like, we'll keep this under wraps if you get the hell out of here and sell the team.
Right. Please leave.
But God forbid they sell it to Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Like this is the thing that's so concerning about getting into business with the wealthiest man on the planet,
who has a vested interest already in Thursday Night Football, not only being like a success, but we talked about this on the show in a obviously different context with Douglas Rushkoff on the Majority Report, but this idea of like, this entity exists. Thursday Night Football on Amazon exists. Now, for example, Major League Baseball is broadcasting some games on Peacock. It doesn't matter whether the venture is not potentially a good idea or if the idea is potentially wrongheaded. What matters is growth. Grow.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if maybe it's in that Thursday Night Football on Amazon was destined to fail because A, streaming already is so unbelievably saturated across all forms of entertainment, and two, these games, as you said, for the most part, are always non-marquee matchups. But none of that matters to someone like Jeff Bezos. None of that matters to the execs over at Peacock, whether these numbers are actually there. What matters is growth. Keep going.
Yeah.
Grist for the mill.
And it can't just be, this is like an immensely like everyone in the NFL is making hand over fist money. Oh,
there's no loss. There's no hole.
There's no hole.
There's always going to be money. There's always going to be money printed.
How much did he acquire Thursday Night Football for? Let's look it up. Amazon acquires Thursday Night Football. I'm pretty sure it was $1 billion. Okay? Let's see. 11-year deal worth $1 billion annually.
And so for a guy like Jeff Bezos, who we obviously know his net worth, either one of, depending on depending on the stock market, either him or Elon Musk are the richest guys in America in the world. It's a rounding error.
I guarantee you, from ad revenue alone, not even from gained subscriptions, which they have gained, he's made way more than that. Way more than that.
No question.
On shitty matchups.
Right. On Cardinals Titans.
Yeah.
For something like that. For
guarantee
example.
it. Right. I mean, it is just like not so. It's God forbid he buys the Commanders, but even just being in business inherently with someone with that much money, like he has more money than any of the NFL owners, and most of the NFL owners combined.
We also talk about this too. We also always talk about this too in the sense of like we try to reshift or we reframe the idea of how people perceive the relationship between owners and Goodell, in the sense that we want to make it more clear how cartelized cartel. I try to say that word. I tried to say this on a Valley Labor Report, and I was like, cartelized. Yeah, like in the sense of like Goodell is a toady and a middle manager for the interests of all of the owners, and within the ownership, within the 30 owners or 32 owners or whatever the case may be, there are tiers of who has more power and who doesn't.
Yes.
There is not the power amongst these owners is not equal.
Right.
But if Jeff Bezos, like you said, if potentially, if Dan Snyder gets over the fact that Bezos owns the Washington Post and the Washington Post is not very nice to me, and sees the dollar signs for how much money Bezos might give him to sell the Commanders to him, and he becomes a majority stake in an ownership group for the Commanders, just purely by way of his net worth, he shoots up to the top of whose priorities are being taken most seriously in amongst the cartel of the NFL owners.
If I was an NFL owner, I would not want him to buy the Commanders.
Because he immediately supersedes Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
He supersedes Bob Kraft. He supersedes
it looks like he's not going
David Tepper in terms of wealth.
We should say, but yeah,
right, agree.
Right.
But I'm saying in the sense of like even just considering it, he's even if he doesn't end up owning a team, this Thursday night push, he's as powerful of an actor, I would imagine, in terms of just how the NFL is consumed as these owners are.
As humanly possible.
Absolutely.
Yes.